Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology Update for October 7th through 14th, 2025. We are continue to have really intense astrology, of course, that is a mere reflection of the intensity of our times. We're in such a powerful moment in history and a culmination of everything we've worked for over lifetimes. So please remind yourself of this, supernova soul, as you navigate the pitfalls, the traps, the quite powerful dynamics of push and pull energetically as we do this massive timeline alignment. It's happening. So be gentle and nice to yourself through this process. And let's just talk about it because the energy is a flip, a raise in frequency, a dawning of a new day for humanity. Everything is speaking to this. It's so powerful this year to have Saturn going back into the sign of Pisces and also Neptune about to go back into the sign of Pisces. And Uranus is going to go back into the sign of Taurus. So these major player planets, and of course we had this over the last couple of years with Pluto going back between Capricorn and Aquarius. So it's like that was setting the stage for what's happening now. Pluto from breaking down the structures into imagining and transforming new structures and getting in what's in the way of the lies that are keeping us from understanding the true structures that we should have in our world, the way our world wants to be, the earth. This is what's happening. This is the life force creative energy of earth being activated, coming back to us. And it's like that tree that busts through the sidewalk, and it's like nothing is going to stop this growth from occurring. And we as supernova souls are poised to be the receivers of this cup of overflowing love, of creation energy of the earth. And that sounds beautiful, doesn't it? And it's like, yeah, that sounds like an alignment with supernova, what I want to do, who I am. But what does it actually mean? And we've been talking about this since the beginning, supernova souls, of this information coming through. Yeah, we have to take back our power, but what does that actually mean and how do we actually do it? First of all, we had to go through this whole process to recognize that it's even our power in the first place. Then we have to heal ourselves to the point where we feel worthy and able to handle taking it back. Then the final stage that we're at now, moving into, is the taking of it back. And so, very powerful, deep mysteries came through. This around this in the activation. So I would encourage you to go check out that Aries full moon activation that happened on Monday, October 6th. Deep mysteries coming through around what it means to take back our power. So the Aries energy of that full moon is this sovereign wholeness, right? Like the potential of the whole human. And so when as Saturn and Neptune are going back into Pisces and then into Aries, this is what we're trying to birth. This Aries is the beginning of the zodiac. It's the 0 point, and Neptune's been hanging out here at 0 degrees Aries for this last while. And then going back into Pisces and then back into Aries. So this is quite a journey over the next 5-6 months as these planets make this move, telling us, reminding us that we're teetering on the edge. Like we're have to go back in order to go forward. And so we need to pay attention to these times of where these planets are. Saturn's already in Pisces at 27 degrees. We'll go back to 25 degrees, 26 degrees this week, 25 degrees next week, and then turn direct and move back into Aries not until February 15th, a beautiful Valentine's Day gift, a rebirthing of our world. But Neptune will move back into Aries on January 27th, and Uranus will, but Uranus won't move back into Gemini, where we express the wealth of what we've taken back, right? So Uranus moving into Gemini happens at the end of April 27th. And that's where we take all of this culmination of dancing on the edge of the old and the new and getting rid of the old and building the new and being in this unknown place and going back to the primordial piece of all possibilities. That's what supernova souls represent. We've been there. We were there at the time that this earth was created with Mother, with the vibrational soul of Earth. We are her. That's our soul group, supernova souls, you know? And so it's like we are just as advanced beings, whatever configuration or label you want to put on it, we were there at the beginning of the earth, at the inception, conception, at the birth of the dream of the potential. And every day we walk around in grief and regret and failure because we have not been able to bring this potential into fruition. You know, it's like gotten further and further away from what Earth wants to be. You feel your life further and further away from what it wants to be. You know, it's like we've been herded down this complete distraction of a path, you know? And the distraction is to keep us from understanding our own abundance, that we're here on a spiritual journey, you know? We're not here to gather up and accumulate items or have some sort of fame or, you know, accomplishment. That might be part of our path. If it's part of your path, it's in that original blueprint that was birthed at the time of Earth. And even though we have been distracted and manipulated on such a level that you would not even believe, Mother Earth, Gaia, consciousness, our great mother embodied, the daughter of Christ's consciousness, has these codes, right? So she knows what's within you that wants to come forward, what it wants to be, what your life wants to be. And this is where humanity and the advanced humans that are more awake and aware are coming to the end of their tolerance for living in a world that's not supporting the potential within them. Because we're finding that there's not an authority out there above us that says that we can't live the life that we're meant to live. That's ours by birthright. That's our inheritance. It has been held back and kept from us for so long. It's gaining spiritual interest. And it's a tsunami of love flooding back into our world. And it's like, yes, again, that sounds good, but what does that mean and how does it happen? It's through you. You as the daughter. You as her body. You owning your energy field. And we've been talking a lot about this, and this is part of the mysteries of them coming through, that owning our field is one thing, but being able to operate it as higher technological device is another thing. And that wisdom has been so hidden and so suppressed and so twisted, and yet it's within us as well. And so we're activating this as we take back our blueprint. We're taking back our access, our permission to access the Akashic records and get the information that we need about who we are and why we're so stuck. You know, the lies revealed. And that's everything that Black Moon Lilith has been about in the sky. We've had all year long continual squares with Black Moon Lilith. And now Black Moon Lilith is a part of this grand water trine. We've been feeling this for a while. Jupiter trine Black Moon Lilith started in July, at the end of July, and it will go through the month of December, where they stay close together. And so then so Jupiter and Black Moon Lilith is the main part of this trine. And we've also had the North Node in there in Pisces. But now Jupiter and Black Moon Lilith are progressing along and Saturn is backing up. So the North Node in the Grand Trine is going to be replaced by Saturn retrograde at the very end of its retrograde 25 degrees, you know? And so 2 and 5 has an energy of action, of collaboration and moving things forward. And together they make 7, number of Christ consciousness. So it's like, let's get going on this plan. You know, that's the reset of our timeline, because Saturn and Jupiter come together every 20 years in conjunction, and there are timekeepers. So they bring the blessings, and they also bring the clarity. And it's about, when they come together, it's about toppling old regimes and new regimes coming into power. It's the old guard and the new guard, right? And that's that Pluto going back into Capricorn and Aquarius the last couple of years. That's exactly the energy of it. But the new guard is like, um, you know, the new guard is what is the new guard? That's the whole mystery, right? So Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, we've gotten the message that this is what this is about, you know, that we are, our visionary leaders are not prepared and have not come forward. And the Pluto came to 3 degrees of Aquarius and then retrograded. So 3 is a number of collaboration and more than the parts, right? So it's like coming together in the eye of the god of Horus, like the creator, the creation of 2 whole beings coming together and creating exponentially more. It's about a product. It's about being able to access the creation energy and manifest with it. So it's like Pluto got to 3 degrees and it was like, whoa, 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 we don't have our manifestors. And that's part of how we're going to take our energy back, is because we are recognizing and understanding the implications and the instruction manual of how to operate this amazing electromagnetic field that we have as our birthright, that we've developed over many lifetimes. It's ours, our vehicle, our Merkaba, you know. And it's so it's being revealed to us moment to moment, day to day, what is our field is capable of. And we've gotten that message that we are the disclosers of the advanced technology, right? Because we're demonstrating it. And so we are having to figure out play by play, you know, without the manual, but it's downloading how to operate this sacred piece of machinery, you know, of this beautiful, beautiful technology, organic technology that is Mother Earth. We have a piece of Mother Earth. We are organite. We have the ability, when we're connected with her in our field, to have an experience of co-creation with the elemental forces. This is what they don't want us to know, and they want us to be scared about. But it's actually really, really exciting, you know? So we're, as this technology is unfolding within our being and we're learning about it, it's kind of like, maybe that's part of our glitchy thing right now, because if you step into this technology, you're going to find fear programming, you know, you're going to find uncertainty, you're going to maybe have reactions from the people around you till you get more used to the energy and to being seen, because you can't really operate on this level and not be seen on this other level of the, like, your light, literally your light command. They don't see the light, but they notice something, you know, and some people who have vision can see it. And those helicopters can see it on the radar, you know. So it's there. So this is what we're doing. We're taking back our light body, our ability to work with and create energy within our own being. We are free energy. It's actually true. And so, but the discovery into this is individual, and it's mysterious, and it's a little bit glitchy, because we have to manage the energies around us as we go through this process. So, but it's harmonized, right? Like we're saying, the Black Moon Lilith stuff is all of the shame and regret and fear and stuff that's all around our light and who we've been in past lives, and the persecution and the mistreatment that we've gotten. in this life and other lifetimes, and the shame we carry for not being able to save the earth is really maybe what holds us down. So we've been digging deep into these subconscious places, because how can we move into the Jubilee if we don't feel worthy to receive an abundant blessings? So this is the problem with humanity. There's a program shame that makes it so that here we are trying to shower them with abundance, and it's like they're going to argue with it. They're going to hold on for dear life to the sinking ship. And so we all have to have this shift within us. Now, supernova souls are here to demonstrate this abundance and to, in real ways. And I know it sounds like, oh, yeah, well, maybe we'll be having nice lives where things are a little easier. And it's like, no, no, no. This is miracle work. And you can't get out of it because you are that. But we're actually learning the mechanism of how the miracle works. Because we know our energy, our sacred, beautiful inheritance, has been farmed from us. Like literally day to day, every day we turn on our device and it's just soul sucking, and then the people around us with their negativity, soul sucking, and it's like, okay, so we want to own our energetic field to be able to protect ourselves from the soul sucking, and that's beautiful. We've gotten so far in that. But is there a way with advanced technological understandings and mechanisms and on our field to reverse siphon, where we can be replenished with the energy that's been siphoned off from us? And is that what turns our light on? And it's like an overflowing cup, It's like only taking what you need. That's who we are, right? We take what we need. We're givers. We give the rest. We want to give and help, and this overflowing cup, and it goes right out your crown, So it's like siphoning back the energy from the beast system, which this is the infiltration of technology in our bodies. It's coming forward that the actual truth of the infiltration of technology in our bodies, being poisoned with tiny little bits of technology and heavy metals, is actually in design a mechanism that they're trying to use for soul abduction. Okay, and we're not going to buy the NPC story anymore because we want all the organic souls, original souls, back in their body. This is the hostages we're talking about. And now they come home. So we have been all fractured supernova souls, but we've overcome in previous evolutionary experiences. We've overcome losing our soul, and completely. So we've held on somehow for dear life. And so now we hold on to the right and the truth that everything is returned to its rightful owner at this time, back to mother and every soul. So mom's saying that, wait a minute, the NPC thing doesn't quite add up, because to get a body in the first place, an organic body, you have to have a soul. Fractured as it may be, you gotta have a soul, And so it's either a purely synthetic body without a soul, or the soul of an organic body has been abducted. And we need to get to the truth of this. And probably both are true, because both opposites of sides of every issue is true right now. Do you see it? It's like, you can't even argue about anything. You just have to stop and be like, this is so weird. We finally have to talk about how weird it is and how it doesn't make sense, because this is a simulation. And the beast system of soul abduction and technologically controlled human beings has been draining the life force of the organic human souls. And so what happens in the Feast of Trumpets when we switch the polarity and reverse siphon? The beast system is now going to come back to us. Now, can you handle that level of power? Creative power, can you handle it? Do you deserve it? Like, is it safe? And then there's a feeling of leaving people behind or taking from them. like draining them so much that, like, can the host survive without the parasite, right? Because we're ready to get rid of this parasite. And the reason why we haven't been able to do it on a planetary level is because the parasite has been so intertwined with the host that to get rid of the parasite is endangers the host, the body, right? So us supernova souls have been cultivating and talking to the earth and bringing her home and loving her and receiving her love and being in communication and cultivating the energies and being aware of the gift of the electromagnetic field, and it's like strength. This is homeopathy and all true healing. Strengthen the organism. The organism has the power, for the miracles. So the miracles coming back to us is Mother Earth's body strengthened through our work we've been doing, but now she's off and running with it, isn't she? And she's going to give it back to us. She's showing us how to take back our energy. And so literally it's going from like these situations where you feel completely fed upon with the narcissist parasitic reality out there, and you can just literally flip the polarity and get rid of whatever toxicity, blackness, graphene they're throwing at you, and also receive back what was just drained from you, and in exponential proportions. Like, it's so, I don't know. So I think this is what this deep mysteries around taking our power back. So we'll just get that. Anyway, I go more into depth with that information that's been coming through in that Aries full moon activation. So go back and get that replay if that calls to you, and maybe you have information to help us understand what this is saying. So the thing that we have been feeling is this over this Aries full moon, which is about that whole human, that we have permission to evolve. We have permission to be whole and complete. We have permission to have the dream that we were birthed, given as when we're created, um, to have that unfold. And there is no authority out there that gets to say whether we get to have the life that is meant for us. Okay, so we've got these two kites, right? We've got the water trine kite, which is being formed by the axis of the north and south node in that grand water trine. And so that kite is finishing up because the nodes they move the opposite direction. It's very interesting to note that this week on the 12th, and this is so powerful these days, I'd say that, the 10th through the 14th, through the 16th, maybe, like this next week is just so incredibly powerful with a shift, a flip, a lifting up, a stepping on, saying yes, surrender to that optimal timeline, like not messing around with these old stories anymore. The energy here is so powerful for a massive shift. And it's interesting that also on the 12th is when the North Node, excuse me, when the North Node in Pisces moves from 18 degrees to 17 degrees. So for the whole time that we've had these eclipses, the Aries full moon was the completion of eclipse season. So we're kind of coming back out of that weird fog, or not, I don't know, stuck here in between time and time itself. And so, but for the last 2 months, the North Node has been at 18 degrees and the South Node at 18 degrees of Virgo, North Node, Pisces. And so on the 12th, they moved to 17 degrees. And that's a really big shift. It's like, okay, now we're moving to the next chapter. The eclipse season is over. As far as the immediate eclipse season, it lasts for 6 months. But we're going to get into what that means now, right? So this week is where we start to see the timeline shift, the evidence of the shifting that's happened energetically. So that has everything to do with Venus, because Venus went into a conjunction at the beginning of October on the 4th and 5th with the South Node in Virgo at the top of that water trine kite. And so that's a destiny marker because Venus and Virgo and the South Node is a karmic destiny that's keeping us from moving forward. So it's like the feminine has to get cleaned up, the feminine has to come back in power, and the earth has to get cleaned up. And for the earth to get cleaned up, the feminine has to come back into power, and we have to clean up the earth in order for the feminine to come back into power. And this is the destiny, and that's the only thing. So it's saying that the way we lift up into, and that's the thing with these kites, Venus being the last one to make these kites shapes, is saying it's the feminine adjustment that allows us to lift up into a new reality. And so we're examining this, and Venus is going to come out, is just coming out of that water trine kite, and will come into an opposition with Saturn on the 12th, and we'll start to feel that on the 9th. So it's like over the next couple of days, the shift from Venus at the top of the water trine kite of harmonized healing, clearing, expanding into the mother, the destiny of a timeline reset, reclaiming the miracles of Saturn back in Pisces, and all that is kind of being activated. And then Venus is going to move into an opposition with Saturn, and that starts the air trine kite. And so that opposition with Saturn on the 12th, but begins on the 9th, and then opposition moves into Libra on the 14th, opposition with Neptune on the 14th at 0 degrees Aries, and that will last through the 17th. So we've got from the 9th through the 17th is the main window of the air trine kite, and then these days leading up into it, very, very powerful for this energy of a flip, of a rising, of a taking things into a whole new level, with Venus going from the top of that kite to the bottom of the air trine kite. And it's saying that the feminine is going to take us into the new Renaissance. But get this, we've got these two kites. Now, a kite is a Charlie Brown kite, right? It's got two little triangles and then one big triangle for the body. And so that's 4 points altogether, 4 planets that make it. And so we've got these two kites in there right next to each other. And but they're overlapping opposite directions. And they're like, they've been between 9 and 11 degrees between these two kites. And so that is 8 points of a star, okay? Because you got two 4-pointed kites. And this is really astrology. You don't know what we've gone through over eons for this astrology to line up the way it is right now. And that's why we can't miss a moment. Don't let anything or anyone take your moment. They're too precious right now. Just say, no, this is too precious. This moment is too precious. And what would one whole day of prioritizing your precious peace make your life look like, in this world look like? That'd be kind of fun, huh? So, so then now we've got these 8-pointed star, but then we've had this opposition with Mercury and Chiron, and that one is just completed. But Mercury over there in Libra, at the very end degrees of Libra, and Chiron coming to the end degrees of Aries, opposite each other, that makes the star into a 10-pointed star. And so it's very powerful, deep esoteric messages around things coming together, because the kite shape is like, oh, you're going to bring together all these different pieces and then integrate yourself into a new and different whole. But we've got two different kites. Is this the two parts of ourselves, our lower self and our higher self, integrating, pulling them back together into who we really are, integrating all parts of our lower self and our higher self, like by healing our past life and current trauma, and bringing ourselves back into incarnate in our body, fully present. Then the kites are, then the 10-pointed star is water. It's the deepest mystery. It's life itself. It's the goddess. It's a massive activation. So it's different than having equal points we've been talking about when they line up all around the zodiac. This is a super dynamic, all these angles, and like a prism, right? So you can just step through this portal into a completely different reality. So that axis of Mercury in Libra, now Mercury has moved over into Scorpio as of the 7th, Mercury in Scorpio, and then in this square with Pluto. So But Pluto is a part of the air trine. So that was already a factor. But Chiron and Mercury are outside of both of those trines. And that's why that axis was so important. And so Mercury in Libra, this is coming to an understanding of justice, of collaboration, trying to work together, trying to understand how we can come back into collaboration, into union. Um, and then we've got Chiron, where we've been manipulated and betrayed so many times. We've had to protect ourselves and our personality, our identity. Our identities have been stolen. This is the soul fracturing. You could call it that. Soul abduction, you know, um, is also stolen identity. And so we're pulling ourselves back together and becoming who we really are according to the original mandate that's being activated by Mother Earth's awakening. And that we are saying, yes, this is in me too. I have the mandate. I have the codes. I remember now. They tried to erase them, but you cannot. Nothing can stop this awakening. So then it's kind of like these Mercury coming to understand the wounds of separation, and that's what's keeping us from lifting up into new dimensional realities. So the water kite, deep spiritual healing, coming back to Mother and resetting our timeline according to the miracles and mysteries, and then the air trine kite lifting up into the new possibilities of the new age and the new renaissance, the Aquarian age. And then that axis saying, hey, we got to come back and come across the divide, across the great divide, because right now we're in conflict. Conflict drains the energy. That's what they want, divide and conquer, right? So say a woman and a man, or any two people playing these different roles in a relationship coming together, and it's conflict, 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 competition, scarcity. See, this is our world. When there's not enough, there's a tug of war. Scarcity creates competition, and that's right. That's the whole mode of control. And so our relationships, especially between men and women, but the masculine and the feminine, in these archetypes and these poisonings and these pains and wounds of over lifetimes of dividing us from each other, when really we need to come together and create that scalar wave, that third part that's more than the parts, the exponential part, the creative God, the potential for a whole new reality. And so so we've been the divide and conquer agenda, right? Like pitting all these people against each other, is like creates that competition, right? And scarcity. And then the energy is drained right out. They're feeding it, right? They're just, oh, we'll just take that while you guys are distracted over here. We're hoping you don't ever realize that you're the source of all the energy. That's all the energy, you know? And so what happens when we go, wait a minute, I don't want to be against you anymore. I want to see you. I want to love you. I want to forgive you. I want to, I don't want to compromise and drain out the energy. I don't want to have one person in charge and control and the other person not, and one person drained and the other person, um, you know, gaining, one person losing. That is a false bullshit paradigm. Mother says no more. More is more. And so coming together in the scalar wave of the perfect opposite of two powers, two whole beings, two suns coming together, then it's the creative energy, right? That conception. That's what Aries is. And that's what we're looking at, healing the great divide through this grand water trine and moving into the new year of 2026 with this burst of light, of a reconception of our world, you know, and this massive scalar wave of all of us coming together to work together in our abundant gifts, overflowing cup, free energy, more is more, and this is where we're at. It's like, you know what? We understand about free energy. We know the technologies exist. They existed. They've been suppressed and hidden from us. But if you really think through the truth of free energy, how it's actually really accessible and we can have it so quickly for all of the planet, then you think it through, and that's the death of the petrodollar. And the death of the petrodollar is the death of the ego. It's where this place we're coming to as we take our energy back from the beast system, which is also the financial money magic system. We have been under, the people who have the money have the power. And it is not true. Money is fake power. We have the power as powerful beings, as those who have been entrusted with the advanced technologies. And they were stolen, manipulated away from us, stolen, used against us, used for violence again and again. And I was like, no, we are the rightful, and now we're ready to take back. We're going to handle it. We're going to take back. We're going to take responsibility. This is everyone in everyone's life right now. We are all being up against the wall to take responsibility for whatever fiasco is in front of us, whether it's another person's situation or whatever. It's got to be coming from within, right? We got to take responsibility and be like, hey, my part in this is done because I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to grow. And I guess that all fits what we're talking about in this completely new paradigm of coming together. So we've got that whole 10-pointed star that just played out. And then Mercury just moved into Scorpio, and now in this square with Pluto and Aquarius. So Mercury square Pluto is exact on the 8th, and that will last through the 10th. And so that period of time is really powerful because it's like Mercury is now in Scorpio. Now Mercury is saying, all right, let's get to the bottom of it. Why couldn't we collaborate? Where is the darkness, And then it's the understanding the darkness that's kept us from coming into our power as visionary leaders, which is also the caretakers of the earth, which is the caretakers of the resources, which is the caretakers of the technologies. So this is like, we've got to uncover the darkness that's in the way of our visionary leaders, because guess what? Pluto's about to turn direct. So this is the last transit with Pluto, our personal planets, before Pluto turns direct on the 12th. And so it's got a huge message saying Pluto's ready to run, saying, yeah, no, this is almost like, you guys, like, we're going into the new age, new age, new age. Yeah, that's so exciting. We've been waiting so long, Aquarius. And then like Pluto's like, you guys, where'd you go? Where did you go? Are you hiding in the bushes? Under the bushel? Under the rubble? Down in the dungeon where you think you belong? And Pluto had to go back and get us. And we're like, come on. So this is the curtain call, right? This is like, get out here on stage now. Pluto says we're going now. So there's a lot of pressure on supernova souls. And Mercury says, face the darkness. And those darknesses are the lies that have been told about us, the manipulations of us. The deepest, darkest shame is where we fell for it. Why? Because we're compassionate. And you know what? They could kill us. They could fracture our soul, kill us again and again, but they could not get rid of our compassion. They could only grow it. Guess what? Turns out there's a power in the world. So this is being unleashed, and you could see that with this Grand Water Trine. So the Grand Water kite is coming off, but Saturn is moving into the Grand Water Trine, and that's going to be exact for the month of November, with Saturn at 25 degrees of Pisces and Jupiter 25 degrees Cancer, and Black Moon Lilith at 25 degrees of Scorpio. And Saturn is our timekeeper, going back into Pisces, coming into the Grand Trine, because it's like, oh, Saturn back in Pisces, back in the dungeon, how did I get here again? But then it's like, no, this is all harmonized. So that means it's about empowerment. We're going to the dungeon to get back what was stolen from us, So this is what we're figuring out how to do. And it's a moment to moment thing we do by setting our frequency, understanding that we have authority as mothers, lovers, over the misuse of energy around us. So this is the other missing piece, right? So it's like that human form or form of something, life, is being used to siphon the precious creation forces of advanced souls? Mm-mm. No. Mom says no. And we've just had to be victims of it and be like, like, because we just was like, we didn't have, weren't embodied enough and know about this enough. And it's shifting now, right? The energies are shifting. The beast system is losing its power. So we're able to get to another stage of this process, right? And to understand that you have dominion as an earth steward in alignment with Mother Earth and all that's good and right and true, which is simply means the way it wants to be in its original dream, you know? If you're in alignment with that, then you have actual dominion and authority over the misuse of the form and the energy, the creation energies. And so this is the shift of this week, going from being predatorily fed upon by this massive parasitic monster that we all have little technological pieces of in our body, to saying yes to our power and energy and literally draining it all back from that beast system. Like human organic soul saying, oh, no, 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 I'm taking it back. And it just is going to start. It's difficult to start, but then it's going to be like a wave because it's that polarity shift, So it's like it can't be part way. It's got to the energy has to build. And that's kind of how this reverse siphon works, is that if we understand that gravity's not gravity, there's no mass and weight, is bullshit. It's all magnetics, right? And so gravity, our connection to the earth, is through magnetic um, polarity. And so if you want to levitate, you have to change the polarity and then you can levitate. And that's what's happening in our field, going from being siphoned off to being refilled. Like the trumpet is like the Feast of Trumpets is actually the rightful energy coming back into the true organic humans whose rightful energy. It's not about, oh, where is it going to go? It's like, no, everything to its rightful owner, just like magnetically back to its rightful owner. But can you handle that? Because so much has been stolen from you. And then you're not just going to get that back. You got to get like sevenfold. So you better be ready to handle that abundance. And maybe that's why you've been going through such scarcity and really getting into this. I feel like all supernova souls have been going into, whether it's financial scarcity, soul scarcity, emotional scarcity, community scarcity, family scarcity. It's like we've all been, the tide has gone completely out. And it's almost like us being like, that does not define my abundance, right? And then you say, wait, this is simulation. Wait, AI is showing us that it's all programmable and I'm walking in my abundance. I'm living my best life. My optimal timeline is unfolding in front of me. I'm stepping right onto it, you know? And so when we come back to the whole thing about, we were talking about taking back the power and the energy, is that as we take back from the beast system what's ours in our field, first of all, we got to get comfortable being seen. Can't hide that shit anymore if you're going to take back that level of energy. And then your manifestations are going to start working like they've never worked before. And it could be disconcerting to you and the people around you. But that's what you're here to demonstrate, see? So it's this thing, we haven't gotten these other mystery steps. It's like, okay, we had to know it was our power. We had to feel worthy of it. We had to know we can handle it. We had to test ourselves again and again. It has to be restricted to the nth degree and fed upon. And we have to push us into the place where we can triumphantly and confidently, with this, I don't know, righteous anger, claim back what's ours, and know we can handle it and immediately demonstrate to the world what can be done with that energy through our manifestations. And maybe that's the thing. It's like we've all heard Abraham Hicks talk about how the messages come through of like source knows exactly what you want. You don't have to clarify what it is you want. And maybe that's also in alignment with the message of like the original codes. right? And the original dream of what your life wanted to be. So yes, you've learned all this other stuff, but still there's that thing, and that alignment with this perfect timeline, the optimal timelines. We're bringing these are the two kites, our masculine kite and our feminine kite, and we're bringing them together, and we're integrating, and we're these two timelines, you know, and coming into this potential, like just putting ourselves back together. Everything is kind of talking about this. And so, but wait a minute, Mercury square Pluto is about breaking it all apart. This is the ego death. This is the breakdown. What if we have a vibrational pulse, you know, an EMP, or like this solar flash or whatever they say, you know, that can defrag the technology. And I know, see, so this is where we're at that tricky place, because if you did that too fast, then people will go insane, you know, because they're losing their constructs too soon. But fast enough to be able to keep it moving, and harmonized, you know. But this is kind of what's happening. People having to drop their constructs very fast. And it's literally because the energetic frequencies are defragging and deprogramming the AI. So this is like the end of mind control, this Mercury square Pluto, as Pluto goes direct now. And then Pluto moves to 2 degrees in December, the first week of December, and then we'll make it back to 3 degrees in early 2026. And so that's when we'll be moving into new territory. Like, so the early part of the whole first half of 2026 is like you're in, you know, curtain calls happen, but you're in the green room, and you gotta get your like life together and get cleaned up, get organized. You've been in survival mode, and you got to go to thrival mode, and you only have a few months to get there. You know, you're going to have support, but thrival mode isn't about that. Thrival mode is about you being able to take care of yourself and honor yourself and walk in the abundance that you are and receive the abundance that you are, so you can disseminate the abundance that you are. Are you capable and strong enough to take responsibility for draining back what's been stolen from the beast system, so you can disseminate it out, the overflowing cup, you know? So this is the preparation we're in. It's definitely initiation type energy, and maybe that's those two kites. It's like, yeah, really putting our pieces back together. And it's powerful that those two kites kind of coming to the end, that water kite, and then it's that Mercury square Pluto and Pluto direct. So that's the energy there. And then what we're going to feel is we're going to move right into that Venus kite, the Venus air trine kite, like we said, on the 12th and 14th. And the window of that is like the 9th through the 17th of the air trine kite. So just lift up into new possibilities, you know, just be open to dramatic, positive change. And to the support, you know, that yes, the tide has gone out, so that you can be ready to radically receive, you know. And that maybe that real lack of affection, connection, love is because you got to be ready for the adoration that's coming, you know. And your bank account is empty because you got to be ready for the piles of cash. And so it's a crazy, crazy time, but everything is about aligning in the truth of who you are. And if for me, it really helps to come into the understanding of I am that child of mother in mother's garden, wanting to create her most beautiful dream with her and with you. And so it's a beautiful thing. So this is what this kite, we got to hold that in our vibration and our field. Now, after this kite shape, we're going to be moving into a beautiful dynamic marker in time where Mars comes into a trine. Mars will come into a trine with the North Node. and that's sextile to the south node. Mercury will also come into that. So Mars trines the north node. Mars and Mercury's catching up to Mars and Scorpio. Okay, so this is so, it's like Mars is the motor on the boat in the muddy old Scorpio, and Mars is like, let's go, let's go, let's make this mud work for us, but it's a mess. Mercury's coming along, and Mercury is trying to get to the bottom of it in our conceptual understanding, and Mercury's coming up to add, you know, the other oar to the boat. And so Mercury and Mars come together on the 20th. But before that, on the 18th, Mars will trine the North Node, and Mercury trines the North Node on the 19th. So they're coming into this grand water trine and then meeting up together at 18 degrees. So they come to the trine to the North Node at 17 degrees, and then conjunct with Mercury and Mars together conjunct on October 20th at 18 degrees. Now that moves us right into the next lunation, which is the Libra new moon, and this happens on Tuesday, October 21st, early in the morning. So we'll be having in mountain time. So the activation will be Monday, October 20th. And that happens at 28 degrees of Libra, 22 minutes. I mean, everything is talking about transformation from the parts, the death of the parts into the whole, rebirthing possibilities, miracles, master builder numbers everywhere. We're coming back into our power. Everything is showing us this. So Libra new moon at the very end of Libra, it's like, you guys, if we don't get to collaboration, if we don't figure this out, we can't go to the new Renaissance, right? If we don't free the feminine into her beautiful expression of beauty and love, get her out, of all of the heavy lifting without any honoring, recompense or care, nurturing, or support. Let's get her back at the helm. Let's get her back in the throne. Let's get her back to be the overflowing cup of creative power and juices and inspiration for all of us, Mother Muse. And so that is the energy of the Libra new moon. And at that time, we're also going to have that beautiful coming together of Mars, our action, our do it, our masculine, and Mercury, our mind, ready to get cleaned up in Scorpio, ready to get to the bottom of it, ready to see the truth. And in trine to the North Node, sextile to the South Node, is saying it's destiny. It's destiny to clean up the mind and to clean up the heart and clean up the soul and to rewrite our timeline and clean up the earth. That sextile to the South Node in Virgo. So then after that, Mercury and Mars come together on the 20th, and then on the 24th, Mercury will come to Black Moon Lilith. So this is triggering the Grand Water Trine, continuing to trigger the Grand Water Trine energies, and Mars will come to Black Moon Lilith on the 26th and 27th. So the sun is going to move over into Scorpio right after that Libra new moon, and then we're going to have this Scorpio explosion of the interaction of Mercury and Mars and Black Moon Lilith all together, in those kind of, and stirring up the waters, and yet trines are harmonizing. And this is one of the most powerful messages that's come through from Mother right now, is that part of the mystery of the technologies that we have bestowed within us, that have been bestowed upon us through our hard work over many lifetimes and evolutions, and what's available to us, it has to do with the understanding of frequency and vibration. Of course, when we're talking about our energy field and all these other ways of working with it, it all comes down to frequency and vibration. And then frequency and vibration distills down to the polarity, the essential polarity, which is, of course, to bring us back to the one. So we have to understand that all manifest form is held into place through frequency and vibration. And this has been demonstrated to us. We've all seen these cymatic experiments with water or sand, and where they're vibrated at a certain frequency, there will be chaos, and then it comes into a geometric form. So this is what is the process of creation, right? It's taking the raw materials stimulating a vibration, and then bringing it into a stable form. So we've been focusing on this and focusing on the water and the consciousness of water, and telling the water, and saying, oh, these patterns, this is how the creation happens. This is how forms held in place. But we are missing the, so the thing we really need to understand that Mom wants us to know is the primordial creative power. The primordial creative power that she brings in her energy field is absolutely calm. Okay. So underneath the vibrational message on the water and the form that gets held into place that we think is physical, the actual primordial calm is the only thing real in that equation. And we have a whole world of this whole, everyone, all the forces out there of the control forces on earth are trying to keep us in chaos, right? So we can't create into, like, stuck in the chaos phase. So we can't settle into the new form of new earth. And so we're in this creation phase, but it's chaos phase where everything's going, and your job and our job, and we know this because we connect with Mother and we feel her and we love her, and she's here with us in our field. And so it's like she's saying that when you can just sit and love me, and love that loves you too, all the tissues, all the waters of the earth, appreciating the natural beauty, but feeling the energy of nature and earth and really loving it. She says the effect of that, it's a neutral vibration that brings it back to primordial peace. Now, primordial peace is the only place you can create from, right? You got chaos going on and you add another chaos, it's just going to make a big mess. You got to have first the beeline of peace, and that's us. We are the creators of New Earth simply by being able to hold our precious, most precious moments of peace. That's all you have right now. This is your most valuable commodity, and who you are, the commodity you bring. So it's this loving determination of connection to nature, Mother Earth, like however the waters, however your body, whatever, source, whatever works for you. But that deep, loving devotion energy calms the chaos. It literally calms the water. Now, when that calming happens, it's more powerful than any frequency holding any form in place. See? That's why we have the power, because we're there with her. Be there. From that place, it doesn't matter what happens next. Doesn't matter whether it looks like something it's supposed to or not, or what you expected or what you didn't, or what you thought or what anybody thought, or what everyone right now is like so freaked out. When your constructs start to break down, your cult programming, you start to judge and criticize the other. And this is our whole world right now. Everyone is walking around in negativity, criticism, and judgment of the other. But we know that you can't criticize or judge anything without judging yourself. And so it's self-hatred to the nth degree, walking around with self-hatred, mirroring back self-hatred. And it's a big leap to get over it, but that's the beautiful gift of coming back into the arms of loving Mother Earth. She's here for us, and we're here for her. And that is the primordial protection. I'm protected by the Mother's love. That is the truth. Because it is weird out there right now. There is a bloom of weird, creepy, demonic shit. Has no control over your power over you. You know this now, but it's still just so annoying and creepy. But you're protected by the Mother's love. You walk in her field. And not only is it protecting you, working with it can actually siphon back the energy that's yours, that was stolen from you and continues to be fed off of you whenever, we're triggered into emotional response or being fed upon. It's so frustrating. And so claim your peaceful moments, claim your moment. You're beautiful. You deserve it. Your moment is beautiful. Your lightness of being for just one moment, feeling okay and at peace in yourself, is so beautiful. That is the only place we can create from. Nothing can come unless you start with the primordial piece. And so as manifestors and creators, we better get that handled, huh? And that's every single activation, every single class is designed to help you. But this is another level of taking it to another level. So very powerful here this time, because we've got that Mercury square Pluto. Now, know that the other thing that's happening is this. We know that Mercury did that opposition with Chiron. Before that, Mercury made a square with Jupiter in Cancer. And that's this cardinal T square. And we have Jupiter. So the only square after this Mercury square Pluto for a while, the only square we're feeling is Jupiter square Chiron. And it's for the second half of October and the second half of December. And then not again until July. The third and final pass of Jupiter square Chiron, which is huge, is not until July. And guess what? It's the first, second, and third of July, where Jupiter will have moved over into Leo, and Chiron will have moved over into Taurus. So it's in fixed signs at 0 degrees. So it's establishing a new order. And it's about expanding into expression of the light that we are, Jupiter in Leo, in square with the wealth that we are that we haven't been able to receive. So now you know your work. This next 9 months is a birthing process of you into your own abundance so you can receive it fully and completely when that magic moment happens. So these two squares, it's everything that we're talking about. Like, do you deserve your birthright? Is your energy yours? Or should you give it out to the parasite? Should you come give it out again, overgive to everyone just so they like you or so that they won't kill you? This has been the codependent state of the supernova soul as the overgiver, giving healer, and make up for some great wrong that we never really even did, except for we do feel that we did fail at Mother Earth. And how can we come back into being the disseminators of her abundance until we can heal that? So that's a lot of Uranus going back into Taurus. Powerful Chiron moving into Taurus after Uranus settles in Gemini. And it's the next chapter. Chiron stays in a sign for about 8 years. And so it's been a long haul of Chiron in Aries. The issues of where we've given our power away, our whole power, our vision of what we can be, our potential, our energy, our life force, and fighting for it back, putting ourselves whole and complete. Chiron in Taurus is, do you deserve the wealth that you are? So it's a whole nother chapter, but it's a completely different energy. So what happens after the Venus kite, at the tail under the Venus kite, is that the sun is going to come into a square with Jupiter and an opposition with Chiron, just as they come into their exact square, Jupiter and Chiron. So Jupiter and Chiron come into exact square on the 16th of October. And then on the 18th, the sun will square up with Jupiter and opposite Chiron. So this cardinal T square with the sun in Libra. And so the sun in Libra wants balance and harmony and peace. And this is who we are. And it's kind of that desire for the life that we want, for comfort, for what we deserve, and to get out from the struggle and the conflict. So, but opposite of Chiron and Aries, where we've given our life force away, because we traded it away, right? We compromised our peace. We fell for the idea of war and continued to compromise our peace in continual conflict, to keep us in conflict, to keep us from understanding that conflict is how they drain our energy that's ours. So then a square Jupiter in Cancer, right? So it's about who are we in our identity as the sun in Libra, that we want to be humans that come together and create a beautiful world. But we are not connected to Mother, and she's the source of life. So we cannot create the world we want to see until we reconnect with Mother. and expand into the nurturing and compassion and the overflowing cup of the energies, right? So the sun is saying, like, what's our role, humans, in taking back our power from Earth, for Earth, right? Our energy that's been stolen, right? Taking it back, taking back our Earth, our new Earth, and our evolution. So that is so powerful. And then that's the energy that leads us into that new moon. And then the sun moving over into Scorpio right there, right after that new moon. And the sun will be joining that whole party in Scorpio happening next month. Very powerful, lining up with that grand water trine in November. So, uh, and and it's in between the first two squares of Jupiter square Chiron. So it's like, yeah, nothing can stop us from taking back our energy and our power and getting rid of the parasite and facing the truth and cleaning up the earth and da 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 da. And we got to deal with this, this, and this. But it's all about harmonizing into something better and cleaner and more compassionate and more connected. So, really powerful, beautiful times. And just know that this a few days, Mercury square Pluto, will feel that through the 10th. And then it's all about this Jupiter square Chiron, which is not so much about Jupiter brings positivity to, even though it's a square, it's tension. Jupiter brings more and luck and possibility. So it's more compassion, more love, more connection that can help us take back the energy that was stolen from us. It's like we've got to find our way, climb our way back to that connection with Mother Earth before we're in a position to stand up and claim back and demand back what's ours. So thank you so much for being here, Supernova Souls, and for your support. These activations, the energies, the messages coming through are so powerful. So go back and get that Aries full moon activation. Keep an eye out for that Libra new moon activation. That will be Monday, October 20th, as we really settle in at these times. Like I said, don't give up your moments. And so also when we come together at these moments and take the most of it and take time out of our day and be present with the messages and with each other, it is so powerful and such a gift to all supernova souls in the world. So thank you for being present on whatever level works for you. Thank you so much for your support. It is so helpful at this time. If you'd like to give a donation, if you appreciate this ad-free space and these messages, there's a link to donate in the information box below. And also, thank you so much for being a part of the Supernova Soul Tribe. $20 a month gets you into every activation. That's at half price. And you never miss that new or full moon activation, so you can stay connected with your Supernova Soul Tribe live or on the replay. We are together, working outside of time. And so keep that in mind for these events. Also, I have a limited number of individual sessions available and 2 really great classes that can help you own your power, owning your energetic field and goddess activation. Those are pre-recorded video classes you can do at your own pace and very powerful work. So thank you so much for your support and for being with us, Supernova Souls. I know we've all been kind of hiding under that bushel, and I think it's becoming more and more clear. Whereas maybe when you first found these concepts, am I a supernova soul? What is this? And being like, there's really no denying and no running from it anymore. And this is part of the thing. If you're going to do your part to have the ecstatic experience of draining the beast system into your own field to give back to mother's children, you better be ready to handle that level of abundance. And so we walk with her. That means we walk in our abundance, and we're preparing ourselves for the blessings that are coming. So don't let anyone gaslight you out of this dream right now. The forces are coming at us from every angle, like those parasitic technological forces saying, oh, no, that's not real. Their last ditch effort to try to convert you into their misery. And this is kind of why we're getting flack or pushback, because if you're not angry, if you're not upset, if you're not sad, if you're not bothered by what's going on in the world because you're trying to get a different perspective and hold your vibration, and then there's an energy of kind of coming at you. This is part of the dynamic of taking our power back. Remember, right? We've got all these frequencies, all these vibrations. We are unique multifaceted, beautiful creatures of God, source consciousness, mother's body, incarnate. But at the same time, it all comes down to the very, very simple duality of opposites, or the two parts of the one whole, the perfect balance. And that's how we get back to oneness. And so we've got to come together across the divide. There's no more excuses besides the fact that you want to support criminals, because we can see so clearly they're just trying to get us against each other and rile us up with misinterpreted stories, right? And it's like, no, we're all on the same team because we're humans, and we are claiming back our planet as a safe and beautiful garden for spiritual growth and ascension. So, and we've long been told this, that as our frequencies rise, their frequencies, they can't actually exist. So it's like the apocalypse, the end of the world, and all this. Like the end of the world for them, it's a brand new world for us. And now we know how to do it. We got massive, abundant, energetic wealth as soon as we feel confident and worthy of our technologies, and then our manifestations are just going to be unfolding. And it's like, no apologies, right? Like, we are done apologizing for what we have and playing small and saying, it's just like they're hating us, right? Calling us less than because they're mad that we have what they want. So very powerful times, right? It's all about that Jupiter square Chiron, definitive moment of those who steal and have the paper money and like the accumulated physical wealth. They're no longer in charge. Who is in charge? Oh, quick, supernovas. So this is where we're at. Oh my goodness. It's so crazy. And we're turning on a dime. Just remember, we can't do it any other way. And I think that's this whole trumpet thing. It's just this picture of this. It's not a trumpet, it's a device, and it's a siphoning off point so that you can use the energy of the clamping down to reverse the polarity and get out whatever's trying to be put in your field, or take in whatever was trying to be take out. And it's a very beautiful tool of these advanced technologies, as we're poised to move forward into this dream. So hold on to the dream, hold on to the vision. We're all so isolated right now. We've had kind of people around us that might have seemed like supernova souls, but we're kind of finding we're pretty much, there's not very many of each other that have each other right now. It's a time of isolation because we're holding down this grid, but there's so many of us out there. I mean, there's not so many as we realize, like we are the cream of the crop, but there's so many people waking up in their consciousness, and so many people, souls coming back home to who they really are. And that's because of the work you've done. So thank you so much, Supernova. I love you so much. I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update. And thank you so much for your support. It means so much to me. And I look forward to seeing you soon, and keep an eye out for that Libra new moon activation, the next event. So I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.